Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 140th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by PWSA's number one fanboy, Jaden.
Hello. Thought you got it wrong for a second before I thought that through.
Don't worry, I've got it written down, so anyway, I got it right. And we've got John Cena, JC, the Keeper of Children, aka Fitzy, aka Liam.
Hello.
Hey. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is The King of Comedy, which opened in the US on February 18th, 1983. It was directed by the GOAT, Martin Scorsese. It is a comedy drama, and the synopsis says, Rupert Pupkin is a passionate yet unsuccessful comic who craves nothing more than to be in the spotlight, and to achieve this, he stalks and kidnaps his idol to take the spotlight for himself. Would you consider that a spoiler? Because I feel like he only does the kidnapping like 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean? I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of that at all, actually. If I had read that beforehand. But yeah, that's all good. The King of Comedy. Jaden, first time viewing, just like myself. How did you react to this particular picture?
God, I don't know. I think this whole Saturday night kind of experience for the show has kind of tainted my overall kind of perception. I don't know what for it, because I thought it was great and I thought it was genuinely unsettling, like almost the entire time. But like, it already feels like it's slipping back into my mind. But it feels like such a sleeper, just like on Martin Scorsese's like filmography, like even with his small, like it feels like his smallest film that I've seen, because it is just it's just three characters and a few sets, pretty much. But no, I thought it was great, but it is just kind of starting to fade already, which is a shame.
Would recording yesterday have made that better or worse?
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be interesting. I don't know. I have to say.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Funny you say that, though, because the film had a $20 million budget in 1983, which sounds high to me.
I mean, surely that all just goes to Jerry.
Probably, actually, yeah. And De Niro, at that point, get a fair bit, I imagine. But yeah, the film bombed at the box office at the time. It lost a shitload of money. So, I mean, that's kind of whack. But anyway, it's obviously significant these days. Fitzy, you've seen this film before, though. This is a rewatch. What did you think of it this time?
I thought it was pretty great. I think it's, kind of an interesting look into someone not being like self-aware, I guess, and it's good. It's a good review about, like idolization, fame, and that kind of thing. It is like pretty funny as well. I don't know, I wasn't as engaged this time, but I'm not sure why, so I'm not like... Yeah, I still think it's pretty great.
Sure, the film did nothing wrong. At least not determined yet. Yeah, I really liked it. I'm looking forward to chatting about it because I'm not sure how my read on certain aspects of it stacks up. I feel like I've got different reads on things, but I don't know. But at the very least, I can say right off the bat that the story was really interesting, and two of the performances in particular were really fantastic. Plus, the runtime was welcome for Scorsese's filmography. I'll just say that. So that was nice as well. So hang on. So this Jerry, what's his real name? I'm getting him mixed up. So
Jerry
in the
Lewis.
film, he's Jerry Lewis in real life.
Yeah.
In the film, he is Jerry Langford.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, very good, dude. I've got to say, so I assumed I've never heard of this man in my life. Should I have, by the way?
I don't know if you should have, but like,
I think
I grew up on Jerry Lewis films, kind of. So like,
Oh, okay. So is he a talk show host in real life, or is he just a comedic actor?
well, I knew him as a comedic actor. I don't think he might have a talk show. I don't know about that, but like, yeah, okay. I just knew him from his movies.
Okay, gotcha. So I sort of assumed he was a real person. I didn't know anything about him. Didn't know if he'd been in other films or whatever. But I'm just going to say right off the bat that his performance was fantastic, and maybe it's a stretch to call him the protagonist, but I at the very least was by far most sympathetic to him in the film compared to the other characters. Like, I feel like the film does a really good job of putting you in his shoes multiple times, allowing the audience to sort of sit with him and sympathize with him through some really good scenes. I just thought, I don't know, I thought he did a really great job with his character, particularly there are some standouts, but the way the film opens is fantastic. I loved him coming out of the show and that insanity in the crowd, the chaos, the freeze frame title sequence. It was all really, really, really effective, actually. And that sort of image and the feeling it invokes is what sort of continued to stick with me throughout the film as I'm watching all these other scenes play out. It really, that through line of that emotion during that, or that just, I don't know, that claustrophobia, that obnoxious feeling of like, God, these people, human beings, man, their sweat, their hands, you know what I mean? Trying to grab at you. Oh, it's freaking nasty, you know? Germs and all that sort of shit. So, yeah, no, I thought all that stuff, he was fantastic in the film. He said, though, that he was surprised at the critics' praise for his performance because, and he disregarded the praise because he was just playing himself. So he claims. So, yeah, I don't know. Jerry, as a human being, is he past? He's dead, right? Is he?
Yeah.
You were incredibly just compelling as a person, I guess, which makes sense because you're talented. But, yeah, anyway, I thought he was a standout in the film. Is that – do you feel similarly, Fitzy? And I don't know, how does his performance stack up compared to De Niro's, in your opinion? Because they're quite different, but they work together in this weird way as well.
Yeah, I really like Jerry in the film. He is, I don't know, he is quite normal, I guess, compared to the rest of them.
Right, and he's the mega celebrity guy.
Yeah. Like, I like there's just like a few quiet moments of like focus in on him, which kind of, I don't know, yeah, give the film kind of like through line story that's more about him, I guess. But yeah, he's really good. I don't think I've seen him anything else, but he's really, really great in this.
For sure. Is one of those quiet moments for me. One would be when he's, I don't know the woman's name, but when he's tied up in the room in the other woman's house, and he's just sort of sitting there like fully taped up, just. I don't know. I don't even know what that dismissive, just like irritation on his face, and just
that's really great. But I was more thinking of like just in his apartment, like you see him just like blankly watching TV and eating and stuff. It just gives like a more grounded feel to his character, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then of course someone random calls him, or was it the woman that called him in that scene?
Yeah, I think it was that woman,
that lady.
Yeah, De Niro's
Gotcha.
Masha. All right, Masha.
Okay, and who is she to De Niro?
Just a crazy super fan as well, isn't she?
I
think the Disney Plus thing said that she was like the partner in it, but I'm not entirely sure.
I guess she's like the crime partner.
Yeah,
she's not Rupert's partner.
No, I don't think so because he likes other women.
Rita. Is her name Rita? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I guess they're part of the Jerry fan club, and they're just always out there together at the front of his shows, and they know each other that way, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think they have like history together because they said like they stayed together and she bought him meals and stuff because she's like really rich. But I like the fact that they hate each other, even though they're after like the same kind of things. It's just a funny detail that the film like harps on.
Yeah, absolutely. And so another thing I wanted to ask was that everything I was reading, genre-wise, IMDb put it into a comedy. I didn't really find this movie funny at all. Like, I just thought it was a solid drama. The only scene, the one that you bring up, is the one I found funny. Was I thought the interrogation of Jerry between Marsha and Rupert, and everything with the cue cards there and on the phone. That's the only scene I would actually say I thought that was pretty funny, but also tense, of course, and that's sort of the dynamic in the scene. But outside of that, I don't know. I didn't find it funny, and I was just surprised to read in the trivia that like people considered like De Niro's performance as a great comedic performance. You know what I mean? I just thought it was a great performance. I didn't really view it that way, but I don't know if if you disagree, Jane, if you were thought it was more funny than I did or anything like that, or how you viewed that aspect.
No. I thought there was comedy in the things he does, like the whole like repeated kind of offer situation, and like, you know, when like how he continually goes to the same thing and has the same conversation, all that stuff, and how at the end of it, when he's clearly meant to be sent away, he just sits down. You know, like it's kind of worrying, but it's also, you know, there is like a comedic kind of tone to it that I definitely felt, and even at like at Jerry's house, like the way they kind of, I think like his ignorance and his kind of just the way he just dismisses everything is where the comedy is, although it is also quite sinister. But yeah.
Okay, I see. I sort of found, so those particular scenes, I actually do get that. I sort of found them, like Rupert was just annoying, and I was sort of, but I found myself cringing in a good way at all those scenes. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like, oh my God, oh this guy, oh please. Like of course, all the scenes in the waiting room are the best example of that, because that was incredibly irritating. I can't even imagine having to be one of those workers dealing with a guy like that. But yeah, I mean, I've just got to say that Robert De Niro, is this the best De Niro performance I've seen? It's got to be top 3. I don't know. I feel like, to me, this was the most different Robert De Niro performance I've seen. Not that I ever doubted his ability as an actor, but this was just so wildly different that it showed a new range, I guess, from him that I hadn't seen before. His performance is a lot more playful in the body language and the facial expressions than anything I've definitely ever seen from him before. He's just a lot more expressive in general. Usually, you know, I'm by no means saying that Robert De Niro plays the same character or anything like that. I think he plays a lot of different characters, but they're usually more, I don't know, stern, or just regular, like more badass. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like Goodfellas kind of like dudes, you know, just men.
Yeah.
And this is definitely more eccentric than that. But it also has this level of just feeling totally fake as well, I found anyway, during especially during scenes with Rita, like that whole dinner scene with her when he takes her out to dinner. I'm just staring at this guy and I'm just like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of bravado, but I'm just like, this guy's like full of shit, you know? That's sort of, you can just see it. So I thought there was a lot of dimension there as well. And I was just very, very impressed with De Niro in this movie. So yeah, I don't know. How do you feel, Fitzy? Is this a top 3 De Niro performance in your opinion? I have to think about that, actually.
Maybe out of like ability, but not out of like enjoyment, I'd say. Okay. I still enjoy his other, you know, cast of serious men kind of characters better.
Serious men, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is you're probably right in saying this is like the most, you know, different he's ever been from his actual personality. Yeah.
Yeah, because if Robert De Niro's in a movie, you know, I don't know what the character will be like, but generally speaking, I know like the tone of performance I'm going to get, you know, and this just was not that at all. So that was, that was a very, very pleasant surprise. And I know that a lot of other actors, like a lot of other comedic guys, like I read in the trivia, I don't know if you saw these, Jaden, but
no, I didn't
Steve Carell and Jason Bateman both said this is like their favorite performance of all time, and it's a huge inspiration to them and all this sort of thing. I was just like, wow, that's quite interesting to get that from them. So yeah, how did you feel about it? Other than if it was just banging, I don't know.
I don't know. It was banging, you know, better than Joker.
We'll
get to that later.
Are you surprised we went this long without making a Joker joke?
No, I thought it was really great. It's not my favorite. I can say that. Like Deer Hunter is still my favorite Scorsese performance. And like when thinking, it wasn't fucking De Niro. But and then like when thinking about it, I think I still like him as Al Capone in The Untouchables. I think a bit more as well. I think he's great in that as that. But yeah, this is definitely up there. It just feels like I don't know. I think everything you guys said is spot on with it. And it's not to say that he doesn't have range, because like it's not like I haven't seen him in comedic performances before, like fucking Meet the Fockers and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Shark Tale, you know. Greg, he lends his voice to Shark Tale, so he's brilliant. But you know, like it's probably like the best like kind of example of it of like, you know, not serious men stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I think by looking through his filmography, Jackie Brown is another one I can think of where he's like different, like Brazil and Mean Streets. That's probably the only other ones I can think of where he's like, yeah, he's not the same character, but and this one is like the most featured, I guess. Yeah.
Right. I see. Is he different in Mean Streets?
I think so. I think he plays like a happy-go-lucky character in Mean Streets.
Interesting. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. But in Jackie Brown, he's like this kind of... It's kind of a comedic performance because he's kind of this like stoner, slacker kind of guy. So he's still like gruff, but he's not like, you know... He's not like stern, as you said, as his other performances.
Right. And I usually also associate De Niro with being like on top of everything. Like he's the guy that...
in control, yeah.
Exactly. And yeah, so that sounds interesting for that reason too. So is Scorsese... Did he direct The Deer Hunter? Is that one of his films or not?
No, that was Old Mate.
Someone else, right?
Name. Yeah.
Oh, damn it. I don't know. I'll just ask that because I've got here in the trivia, Martin Scorsese has said that he thought Robert De Niro's best performance under his direction was this film. And I can't say I disagree at all, actually, to be honest. Especially since I think this trope that we're talking about of these preconceptions that we have of what a De Niro performance is probably comes from Scorsese films, you know, more than any other filmmaker. So I can't really say I disagree with you, Martin. For sure. One of my favourite aspects of the movie actually ended up being the imaginary conversations, the imaginary scenes that take place. There's a handful of them where Rupert is just making this shit up in his head that play out. And I just love the way these are cut into the film. Scorsese said, I've got here in the trivia, he said that he wanted there to be no difference between fantasy and reality in the film. In terms of the way, I presume he means the way it's presented, and he nailed that. Like that first time they do it, when Rupert's imagining having dinner with Jerry, and it's just like it's like doing it's doing shot reverse shot, but then it's just like cutting between. It cuts back to just him in another room pretending it's happening, and then back to him in the. I thought all that was really, really great, and really effective because at first you start doubting it, and then you're like. Oh no! And then you like, as the scene goes on, you clearly understand what's happening. But then that philosophy that Scorsese's going for, it then continues throughout the rest of the film. Where, therefore, with that in play, with that established that editing convention, you sort of throughout the rest of it, which comes back into the ending for sure. You sort of have to at least in some way question everything you're seeing, but in a way that feels satisfying because it's set up so well at the start. I think. Yeah.
That scene, I think that scene's an example of what I find funny in the movie. Like the conversation between Jerry and Rupert, where Jerry's like begging Rupert for like what he actually wants, you know, and Rupert's like rejecting it. I find that really funny.
When his mum keeps interrupting.
Yeah.
Is his mum real?
Fake conversation. His mum real?
Because in his monologue, he says his mum's been dead for 9 years. And he's like, when he's on TV.
And I was just like, where does the delusion... I mean, like, you know, because it's, like, we never see her, obviously, is like the big one. But also, like, in like the tape recordings, like, I don't know how masterful of an editor he is, but he must have gotten rid of her voice, you know, in like the tapes as well that he submits, if that's the thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. There's always just a quality to her to their conversation that made me think she's not real.
Interesting. Well, what would that psychologically in those moments where his mum interrupts, what would that be representing for him? You know? Like I guess I don't know, I could say like his self-doubt or something, but I don't really feel like this guy has a lot of self-doubt. I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess you could always just say, yeah, he just made it up for the monologue. But that feels like that's a great catch. Like that feels like a detail that it requires more investigation. I don't know.
But I don't know where to go. I don't know where to expand that thought any further.
No, neither. But it's a great. I didn't even notice. Yeah, that's great. But the mum was played by Martin Scorsese's mum, the voiceover. So there you go.
Yeah, even Marty was in the movie. He was.
Oh hell yeah! What a great cameo that was.
I loved his little cackle at the joke.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're the director. It's like all right. Has he cameoed in another film? Because I feel like that's happened before.
Yeah.
He was in Taxi Driver. That's right.
Oh yeah.
What do you think is something else though?
Yeah, I think he's been in a couple. He was in After Hours, but that was like a really small one, and there was something else. I can't remember what it was.
Was Taxi Driver? He's in a full scene in Taxi Driver. Like he fully acts in a scene.
Yeah, I think that's like his biggest cameo. Yeah.
Right.
Apparently, it's been in everything. It was in Raging Bull and Hugo and Gangs of New York and Main Streets, and it's been in everything, man.
Gangs of New York. Wow.
Apparently, he was in a One Direction movie.
What? Jen, does that make you want to rewatch Gangs of New York to go and spot Marty?
Absolutely not.
Oh man. But yeah. Anyway, sorry. So these imaginary sequences, particularly, I really like the wedding one. That was particularly bizarre. I love how it just takes us into his mindset of like, I don't know. I guess this guy feels like the world has wronged him, and fantasizes about everyone recognizing him. Obviously, he has this desire to be successful, to be famous, whatever. But it sort of goes deeper than he wants everyone around him to, because he imagines he's high school principal, you know. So he wants that sort of recognition. He obviously has a lot of regret, or the past haunts him. He's not someone to let go of it, clearly. So I thought that was all quite telling as well. So yeah, that was one of my favorite conventions in the film, I think. And I don't know how you guys feel about the ending, but like, it's fake, right? Like, he didn't get famous. Just throwing that out there right now.
I don't know. I think that's
It's I don't know. Yeah. It's so like, I think everything that the film kind of sets up, it makes it believable enough, but obviously always casting doubt. It really wouldn't surprise me if it's real, but yeah, I don't know.
But before we look at it maybe on a more meta level, just purely within the context of the narrative, his comedy wasn't that good though, right?
It was decent.
Was it?
I don't think it was supposed to be good.
I don't think it wasn't horrendous, obviously, but I didn't feel like it was. And I'm not even speaking from just like, in my opinion, it wasn't funny. I don't even mean it like that. I just mean like within the context of the film itself. Like, is it meant to be impressive? I don't really think it was.
I mean, the audience was laughing, man.
Yeah.
No, but there was the FBI guy took him in and said it wasn't funny.
Yeah, it's the FBI guy. It's just
right. Yeah. That's a valid interpretation. Yeah. I don't know. That is true.
And like Rita seemed decently impressed by it when she was looking at when she was watching the TV.
I think she was just shocked that he was on the show.
Right.
But even the drunk guy at the bar, he was like, hey, that's the dude from TV. He was.
But is that more just looking at the other side of the film? Looking at our obsession with famous people, celebrity, all that sort of aspect of it.
Sure.
And less so, this dude was funny.
But even the thing is, like even if it wasn't that bad at the time, but then like he in the monologue it talks about how like he improved in prison and shit like that.
Yeah,
it's plausible.
Yeah, it is plausible.
It's bullshit. Like I think it's bullshit, but like it's plausible.
You want to believe it.
I want to believe that's bad.
So you say you actually do think it's fake then?
I think it has to be. Like, there's no way you tell this story and then leave that ending as real, right? And especially with all like the delusions that happened previously.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the side that it's fake. That he went on the. I think he went on the show. I think everything we saw happened in terms of he go on the show, he did his thing, whatever. But then I think he just went to prison and
Yeah.
no one gave a shit. That's what I would say.
But this whole like book deal by like these like, you know, vultures at publishing,
His autobiography.
like that's so believable. You know, people would be swooping in. You know,
Yeah, it's like no, it definitely is, but that's like the fantasy, I think. I think that's his
Yeah.
fantasy. Yeah. He wants everyone to want to read his goddamn autobiography, even though it's probably terrible. But just regardless of, I think it's a very interesting conversation, and it's great that 40 years later it's like, oh, I don't know. But even just like the execution of the final scene itself, the way the camera comes in on him, and the way it uses sound and the echoing voices, like that was all very effective.
I think the very last shot has like TV fuzz, you know? It's like low quality, so it's supposed to I think it's supposed to like emulate like a TV, like inside a TV,
Right?
like a TV camera, I guess. Yeah.
So because they do that for all of the TV scenes in the film through the whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess that's like that could be like a supporting argument to it being real, potentially. Because it would be an interesting choice. Say if they didn't include it in that scene, that would be an interesting argument the other way.
For some reason, that makes me like the TV fuzz makes me feel like it's fake.
Okay. Interesting. But yeah, no, that was a very good final scene though, because it had the, I think, appropriate effect of as I was watching it. Like, I personally, like, I was when they were doing the whole wrap up with the everyone got the book deal and all that. Like, I was sort of like, oh, really? But I wasn't fully in the mindset yet of, this is bullshit, until like the camera comes right in on him and it keeps going and it keeps going. And then only in that moment does like fully register with me of like, this like this doubt seeps into me as an audience member. That wasn't entirely, like I was sort of intellectually before like, oh, really? But then I fully felt it right at the end, right before it cuts. So I think that was a great ending for sure. Great final note there. And I mean, the obvious comparison to make too is, we'll get out of the way, is the goddamn ending of Joker. And I'm just going to say, like, I feel like watching this ending, I'm really curious what you guys think of this, but I feel like this ending and the conversation we just had about it, like, it sort of ruins Joker's ending for me, because I never had an issue with Joker's ending. I thought it was kind of cool. It definitely wasn't my favorite part of the film by any means, but I thought it was cool. But like, this is way better than Joker's ending, because I feel like it creates the same question, the same, you know, debate that you're meant to walk out of the theater having of, you know, what was true and what wasn't. But Joker's ending, if I'm recalling correctly, it's meant to be this like, well, first of all, it's just egregious that it like straight up copied this movie. Like, even more so than I thought. It's like, it's literally the same question it's posing in the final shot. But anyway, regardless, that's one thing. But then the other thing is, like, the thing in Joker is that you're meant to question if the whole movie even happened, right? If I recall correctly. So, and in this film, like, this film never put that on me. This film isn't saying, "Hey, did you just watch nothing?" No, it's just asking if, literally, the outcome of the character is as we present it or not. And I think that's way more interesting than just like, oh, but maybe the movie was bullshit. You know what I mean? I feel like it's just much more interesting narratively to leave the ambiguity on a story point that's, well, and not just any story point, the main outcome, as opposed to just like Joker now sort of, to me, feels like they were just like shrugging their shoulders of just like, eh.
Wait, I'd like to know if you want the Joker ending even is some of the ambiguity.
he walks away. Hold on, he walks away from. Wait.
So they cut to him in the asylum.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly how they do it, but like there's he's talking to the psychologist, and there's a clear indication that like hints of like, he's trying to tell the story to the psychologist or something, and he like doesn't say it or something like that. The idea is that like he was in there the whole time, and the film's narrative was something he just made up to the psychologist.
Oh, okay.
But then when he walks away, isn't there like that blood trail on his feet? So like it implies he killed the psychologist. And then because since he killed the psychologist, you're like, no, well, maybe he is just like psychopath, and maybe all that shit is real or whatever.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Or it's just like trying to suggest that like this is the joke. I can't believe we're talking about that movie, but this is the Joker, and he just made up his own origin story, and just like the origin story we witnessed is not an objective origin story of the Joker, because the Joker has no origin story. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, if it was all bullshit, then how do you make a number 2?
That's an excellent question. Well, that's the other thing with the second one. Isn't that character that he killed in the first one coming? The the other the chick from Atlanta who's his like wants to be girlfriend with in the movie. Zazie Beetz. She I think she's in the second one. But even though within the narrative, yeah. Well, that's what we're led to believe. I don't think we don't never see it, but we're led to believe. So maybe they're going with maybe they're going all in on the fact that it was bullshit. I don't know. That'd be wild. But anyway, sorry. But my point specifically was that I can't believe how much Joker actually copied this film's ending, like literally, and how much better this film's ending is, in my opinion. Which only, in my opinion, elevates this film. So, I mean, it's not an issue by any means, but I know everyone, of course, compare like Taxi Driver and this film are meant to be, you know, inspired that Joker. I always knew that, of course, but I never realized it was going to be that egregious, I guess.
Yeah, there are some similarities for sure. I think I was one of this Jane in the car. I think like Taxi Driver maybe more so because of just the angst kind of comes from Taxi Driver and the kind of like certain camera techniques. Like the tracking shots across the street and that kind of thing. But yeah, like the plot is comes a bit more from this, I think. And like Robert De Niro being the talk show host, I think it's like a clue to that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great point. Yeah. It really is true. Because obviously I knew this, when I saw Joker at the time prior to seeing Taxi Driver in this film, obviously, but it really is true that those two films make Joker. Like really, like as you just said, elements of one. Also, like the Taxi Drivers, I feel like its themes in terms of like, you know, outsiders of society and mental health issues, and that's sort of more taken from Taxi Driver as opposed to because this film, while it's clear that Rupert's deranged, it doesn't lean into the mental health side of it. It more focuses on the why, the motivation, the celebrity, that sort of thing. I think. I will talk actually about the cinematography and the score while we're talking about comparisons to Taxi Driver and Joker, just because to me, they were the least impressive aspects of the movie to me. I think the point you make, Fitzy, about the way the camera's used really and the way it builds a certain atmosphere in Taxi Driver, it doesn't come across in this movie. And that's not necessarily intention, and that's fine. But to me, this film ended up looking, in terms of just the way it's shot overall, outside of the particular dream stuff we were talking about, which is all great, but just talking about the vast majority of the time we're spending in its scenes, like I feel like the way it's shot and the way it's scored is pretty tame. I feel like it doesn't add a whole lot to the experience. I was getting a lot more out of the performances and the story and the themes as opposed to the tone it was building otherwise, you know. Whereas Taxi Driver was a lot more I was sort of almost a reverse situation where like Taxi Driver's story kind of still confuses me, but like you sort of feel the film through those other elements, you know.
Yeah, well, was there even much of a score? Like, I think most scenes were pretty silent, apart from maybe there was some jazzy bits, I guess.
Jazzy bits, yeah, for sure. Outside of that.
Yeah.
It is like...
This guy's come... So, like, this guy also is coming back to compose Killers of the Flower Moon. How do you feel about that?
That's interesting. Has he collaborated, like, in the meantime on any other...
He also did Irishman and Colour of Money.
Oh, well, then I like that. That's good.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, but he's not a long time collaborator. I mean, long time of in terms of years. But like, are those the only other Scorsese films he's done? He's not like a super regular.
They're pretty much the only films he's done.
Wow. Okay. Right.
He's done.
Interesting.
But I think he's the lead. He's the lead singer of the band.
Of which band?
The Band is what they're called.
Oh, okay. The Band.
Yeah, I think they were decently popular in the 70s. So I think that's where like most of his work is known for.
Yeah, so how do you feel about specifically the cinematography and the score, Jane? Because I just feel like while I was just sort of shitting on Joker in comparison to this film's narrative, like I must say that watching Joker was a more unsettling experience overall, which is obviously not, intention between the two is different. But I'm just saying, like, Joker had a certain atmosphere that I would say trumps this film,
Sure, yeah, I can see that.
Because of those things, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I think I think Joker's score kills this. 100%. Cinematography wise, I don't know. Joker probably looks nicer, but I think this is probably shot better because I think like one of my favorite things about the movie is that in every shot, not every shot, but quite often when there's a shot in public, on the sides of the frame, you realize that people are looking at Rupert. Like he always has an audience. Like the most obvious one was in that scene where him and Masha are yelling at each other outside the studio. But like even at the dinner when he takes Rita to dinner, like there's this dude in the background just staring at him as he like takes out his like autograph book, and it's quite unsettling. And like it's like the way that there's kind of the way it kind of tells that story of people in the background through the shots. I like. So I guess it's that.
That's a good point. One of my definitely on the same wavelength. One of my favorite scenes in the film is when Jerry has to walk through the neighborhood, and he's just that's the time when he's just walking to work. I thought that was fantastic because, first of all, this gradual decline that you feel for him being in his shoes as he's going, of just like of tension and just anxiety and just being scared and just being frustrated at the situation is great. Like the way he just walks out of the apartment. First off, it's the cab driver, and he's fairly pleasant to the cab driver. He's like, "Oh yeah, great, good to see you," whatever. And then but as he keeps going, the scene's not even that long. It's just like quickly degrades into this woman telling him, "I hope you get cancer."
Oh yeah, that's funny.
That was really funny. And then him, then at that point, just basically sprinting to work, Marsha chasing him sweating his ass off. Like, God, I thought that was probably one of the best examples of us like really immersing ourselves in his perspective, and that probably built sympathy more than anything else. That particular scene. But the "I hope you get cancer" line came about because that's something someone has said to him before. Jerry Stewart, right? Jerry Stewart?
Lewis,
fuck me. So that's something, dude, can you imagine saying that to someone? I don't know. That's like that's crazy. So, but yeah, that's how that line came about. And in that scene too, the only two actors in the scene were the cab driver was an actor, and the lady at the phone booth who said that was an actress. And obviously Marsha was an actress. But everyone else, in terms, because there's more interactions where he's like quickly like people yelling at him from across the street, all that sort of thing. All those were just real people. And that's why that's why the character's name was Jerry, just so when people could pass him by, they could just say, "Hey, Jerry," and it didn't create any issues, So I thought that was just, it's this meta level of like, wow, that is, not that someone, not that he had those exact interactions. It's obviously a scripted scene, but like in a way it adds this authenticity of like, I'm immersing myself in this guy's experience, but that is his experience because that's literally what he has to deal with because these people aren't actors and that's what he's getting, So that sort of adds to the film as well, which I really liked. And I think by the time then that all sort of contributes, by the time we get to the scene at his house, when De Niro and Rita show up at his house and Jerry tells them to get lost, like by that point, in pretty much any other story, that scene would be played as, oh, the big celebrity asshole guy is being a dick to the regular person. They're being arrogant, whatever. But instead, in this film, I thought it was really interesting. It's played instead as this like cathartic moment for Jerry, finally telling someone that he doesn't give a shit about them and their tapes or their lives, because why would he? And it's like super satisfying. It's like, yeah, good. I was like, dude, good for you, Jerry. You're finally telling someone that they should fuck off. You know what I mean? And I think it's at least I don't know if you guys felt the same way. That's how it's meant to play. Of like this final like release for Jerry of like he's been building this tension's been building. He's had to deal with all this crap throughout the movie, and him telling this regular dude to piss off is like satisfying, you know, which is something I don't think I've seen before.
I wish to comment more than just but you know, like
I'm glad you sounded interested by it though.
Yeah.
But then actually, sorry, yeah.
Can you think of any other stories that kind of have a similar treatment of kind of obsession and fandom other than the Joker?
No, not off the top of my head, and I think that's one of the things I really did connect to about this film. Do you think Joker has? See, because Joker definitely has that.
The Joker idolizes De Niro in the same way that
he does.
This happens.
Yeah. That was never my main like takeaway from that film, though.
Right.
And now having watched this film, it feels almost more like that was only present in Joker because this inspired it. You know what I mean? And because of as Fitzy pointed out, obviously the De Niro playing the talk show connection. Like, I feel like that's sort of the only reason that's in Joker. I don't really feel like that's like the driving force of Joker by any means. But as opposed to this film, like thematically, I took away from it, like I think it's about our fascination with successful people, in quotes, like how we measure success, money, fame, whatever, or our unhealthy desire to be recognized and for our work to be adored by other people, and to be famous in plain terms. And I feel like a lot of people, obviously, probably the majority of people look up to famous people, probably a smaller percentage, but still a lot of people want to be famous, and this guy, Rupert, was obsessed, tried to take shortcuts. And from my interpretation, it got him absolutely, from what I think about the ending, it got him absolutely nowhere except prison and continuing to daydream and fantasize about it, So that's to me, that's sort of at the heart of the film. And as you say, Jan, I don't think I've seen anything else quite like that, or at least it's executed in this way. So I thought that was particularly noteworthy, especially since this film was made 40 years ago and it feels just as relevant, if not more relevant with social media and that sort of thing.
More relevant nowadays, yeah. It's not like it's no longer just about, fucking like I know you don't engage in it a shit ton. Leon, I'm not sure how much how in tune you are with like Twitch and YouTube and all that stuff. I know you watch it, but like just this week alone, there's been like massive things about just like the way that people treat streamers and these content creators and like the parasocial relationships that do develop and like this obsession is like truly gross and to see it just depicted on screen 40 years ago is nuts, because it's so much worse today where it's so much easier today to just stalk and harass and all this.
That's a great point. Yeah. And I mean, again, we see that in the opening scene, but yeah, that is actually making that comparison to shit happening this week makes it even more poignant and disturbing for sure. I don't know. I don't know if you agree with that take, Fitzy, at all, if you get that from it.
Yeah. No, I do feel that. I was going to say earlier, about you were talking about the cinematography. I do like how like unstylized it is, because it just gives such a like authentic kind of like busy New York kind of vibe. Like Taxi Driver is like kind of gritty New York and very dark and just kind of gross. But this is like there's a really nice shot of like Times Square and stuff like that in this. It just feels very, I don't know, very, very, very normal New York, very cool New York. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. It feels a lot less like Taxi Driver at night time and the neon lights. It feels a little more grimy.
Grimy, yeah.
As opposed to, this is more pleasant for sure. No doubt.
Oh, about the celebrity worship thing, I do like the fact that he is like a signature like collector kind of thing, because like they have like a kind of reputation for being kind of like leechy and kind of waiting out of places, waiting for people for like hours and that kind of thing. So it does give another it's just a cool detail to add to the kind of celebrity worship, through line of the movie, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone, one of my main thoughts for Rupert, his name isn't Pumpkin, it's Pupkin. That was funny how everyone kept saying his name wrong, the receptionist. So there you go. Actually, maybe I did find the film funny, more funny than I thought. But one of the main things that everyone tells him as he's desperately trying to get in with Jerry is that, like, oh, you should go and test your material with live audiences. Is that serious? Is he never done that? I sort of get the impression that he's never been to a club. He's never attempted it, ever.
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, I get that feeling.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. That's all. That's all I got to say. And I guess it just adds to my idea of it, like him just so desperate to take this weird ass shortcut. It's like, dude, I guess he has no desire to build a brand for himself and do it properly. I don't know. It's just weird.
I mean, yeah, like that detail alone, it adds to his character of just like this narcissism and kind of self-confidence that kind of just is unparalleled to anyone else,
Right, like he's entitlement, right?
Yeah, that's the word.
The other thing, I mean, you can get famous at any age, really, but like I think the fact that he's 34 is added as a detail that's supposed to like add to his desperation, I guess.
Oh, and he says that, right?
Yeah,
he says something about that.
Because in the car with Jerry, he's like, oh, and the other thing is I'm 34 and, I haven't got my big break yet. I'm waiting for my big break, that kind of thing. So I think he's supposed to be like a desperate kind of character.
Yeah. But he sucks. Rupert sucks. No doubt.
But he's like, he's kind of a lovable guy.
Is he?
He's definitely annoying, but,
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
I guess if there's anything else to say, I like other cast members, just like the assistant and like Marsha and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I feel like we haven't talked about her.
Yeah.
Not really. I didn't really get a lot from her, like a lot to say. Like I thought the way she played with De Niro was cool, but like as a character, I don't know, she sort of just was another obsessive lady, Obviously an important character, but I will ask, so when De Niro and Rita go to Jerry's house, I was confused. So he concocts this dream scenario where, and this is one of the times where the film doesn't really explicitly show it's a dream, even though it obviously is.
I don't think that's a dream.
When Jerry invites him to his house?
Oh, no, that's a dream, yeah. But I think when he goes to the house, it's surreal.
No, yes, I agree. So I was just wondering, does he think the dream scenario of being invited to the house he obviously thinks that was real?
I think so.
That's the only time I believe in the film where, like, there's a few of these dream sequences, but every other time it's like, it's never shown that he's not aware that he's just making it up. You know what I mean? So, like, I just wonder if he's, like, delusional, like he actually believed that thing happened in his brain, or if he's, I don't know, trying to manifest it in some way, like, oh, I want this to happen, so I'll just turn up. But when he's there, he seems pretty convinced that Jerry did invite him. So I was just confused about that, because I think that's the only example of something like that.
Yeah. I'd imagine he'd have like two minds about it, Like
he's aware somewhere, but...
Well, he's clearly...
there's parts of him that are aware, there are parts of him that isn't, I guess.
Because like when Rita tries to go upstairs and when she tries to touch some stuff she's not meant to, like he's clearly like a bit like... he's a bit like, oh no, don't do that, we shouldn't do that, kind of thing. It's like he knows that there is a boundary, and like he knows that there is a limitation to like what he's doing there, I guess. Yeah.
But that doesn't stop him from going to the house still. Yeah. I don't know.
But there's an awareness that is what I'm kind of trying to like he is like aware to a degree of like that he shouldn't be there.
Yes, because he's telling that's right. He's telling Rita to not go upstairs and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. He's a weirdo. So what do you want?
Yep.
Nice. Let's get to our final verdicts for. I was about to say Taxi Driver, the king of comedy. Jaded.
I want to like it more, but like, it's not that I don't like it more. It's just like one of those main points I mentioned at the start about how it's already fading from my mind. Because it is pretty strong and the performances are pretty strong. But but I'm gonna have to land on a 7. I think. Yeah.
I get you. Fitzy?
I'll keep it at an 8. I think. Yeah, I think it deserves an 8, but maybe my drama was lower. But I'll keep it an 8. Yeah, 8 out of 10.
Sure. Yeah. I get what you mean. Because I don't know if I necessarily feel the pull to rewatch this. I mean, obviously not now, but you know what I mean. I don't know if it has that same quality. But I'll give it an 8 too. No, I thought it was great, and I think the thing I actually sort of right after I finished it. No, not even then. I would say sort of as I was still watching it towards the end, I was sort of in the this is a 7 or an 8 area. What really put me over the line was the final seconds, the question, the ambiguity of that, and sort of reflecting afterwards on the celebrity themes. And that put me at an 8, I think. And then Jaden bringing out those points about its relevance today is only oh yeah, that's a strong 8. That's a strong 8 for sure. So yeah, 100%. All right, let's get into news chat. We've got a DCU news chat because this week all this shit happened. Loyal listener, loyal fan, our number one fan, some might say, Luke, broke this to me live at 7 a.m. on this, whenever that morning was. Was it Tuesday morning? I don't know.
Wednesday.
About Wednesday morning. About all the new, yeah, that's right. About all the new DC news announcements, movie slate that James Gunn came out and told us all about. So we can go through these, see what we think. There's a few different ones that we might have some different thoughts on. I've just got to say right off the bat, though, Jaden, how excited are you to no longer have to say DCEU? And you can just say DCU.
Why was it ever DCEU?
Because I think they added extended in there because they wanted to. It was their way of saying. I think E was for extended. I think.
Yeah.
It was their way of saying oh, it's not. There's the comic universe and this is the extended. You know what I mean? I think it was. It's weird.
Right.
It's
Okay.
weird.
Yeah. Fair.
I think that was their logic. But anyway, that's done. We got the DCU. We got they're of course copying Marvel. So instead of phases, they're doing chapters. So they announced Chapter 1. And it even has a subtitle, guys. Do you know what the subtitle for Chapter 1 is? Gods and Monsters. Whoa. Wow. So, yeah, anyway, they announced the slate for Chapter 1 of the DCU. I must admit, I just will say, I don't know entirely how I feel about the strategy of them coming out and announcing these movies at this time. None of them have logos. None of them have release dates, except the first one, which I'm about to say. I don't know, it feels sort of a bit soon. James Gunn was only hired 3 months ago. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just curious as to why they felt they needed to come and do these announcements now. Why not just wait a little bit? I don't know. Because I feel like he just got on the job. But anyway, he's doing it. So the first announcement is that Superman Legacy is a film that will release in 2025. It will introduce us to the new DCU's Superman, of course, played by someone different. We don't know who. And it'll be not an origin story, but they say the movie will show Clark Kent balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. So I guess it's meant to be like an early Superman, but not I guess it's like the Batman, like an early Superman, but not an origin story, you know? What does this do for you, Jaden? James Gunn's writing this film. He has not decided if he will direct it. Because as the boss, he can just choose. He can just I don't really feel like directing this one.
I'm not sure. I don't think any Superman live action adaptation has been perfect so far. The 70s Superman has its charms to its period, but it's not great. I think adapting Superman is always hard because Superman's such a boring character. So Superman news never really excites me, but the fact that Gunn's writing it does surprise me, to be honest.
It doesn't. You didn't really think Superman was a fit for him necessarily, because I sort of felt that way.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what it is. Maybe I don't know. He is a boring character. I don't think anyone can really deny that. He's all powerful and he's the good guy always. Yeah, I don't know. Could be interesting.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty similar. It's the only film here to have a date, which is July 11th, 2025.
Doesn't Batman also have a date? But I guess that's not DC. You.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. It's the only DCU Chapter 1 film to have a date. Yeah. We'll get to that later though. Fitzy, any thoughts? Superman Legacy. How pissed off are you that it's not Henry Cavill? Do you want to friggin' stab James Gunn like everyone else?
No, I'm excited for new Superman. But I think I sound like more of a Superman fan than Jaden. So, yeah, I'm excited.
It does feel like it's time for a new Superman. I'm not going to lie. Like, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have complained if they went ahead with Henry returning. But, like, just based on the reboot rate of Batman, for example, I feel like Superman needs to catch up. Like, we need to get some more Supermans out here. What else we got here? Oh, wait, is there something, Jane, you wanted to share? Or?
No, I just saw something funny. Because you suggested I open up a second screen instead of having 2 camera views. So I did that, and I saw something funny. So I was like, huh.
Okay, that's all good. They announced Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow as a film. I thought this was interesting because when they already going in the... I'm mixing that with Batgirl, which was, of course, cancelled. Right. I was thinking, when they already going to do a Supergirl movie anyway, but I guess not. I'm confusing the two. So, yeah, there's a Supergirl movie. I assume you guys have no thoughts. It's based on a comic... It's based on a comic series. Okay. All right.
Supergirl is more interesting than Superman because she's she kind of like doesn't know her limits, so she kind of like she's like more powerful than Superman. That she doesn't hold punches and she's kind of like a bit more destructive. So she's got that kind of wild card persona. So
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, on paper I would have just that does sound actually kind of interesting. On paper I would have just said, I don't know, isn't Supergirl just female Superman? I'd just rather see Superman. You know what I mean? But that sounds cool. Okay. I didn't know there was really any difference. But I'm ignorant to this stuff. We have The Brave and the Bold, which is the DCE... Oh my God, I said DCEU. The DCU's introduction to their new Batman. This movie focuses on Damian Wayne, the son of Bruce Wayne, and Talia al Ghul. It's a father and son story based on the Grant Morrison comics. And we can expect to see other members of the Bat family. So I guess the noteworthy thing there is, of course, so this is going to be a new DCU Batman, not Ben Affleck, not Robert Pattinson. This is a new, they're going to reboot, with this reboot, they're bringing in their new Batman actor, whoever it ends up being. But I must say, I am interested and intrigued by the idea of them finally bringing some of these Bat family characters into live action, because I'm aware of who these characters are, just, through games and just pop culture, but like I've never read a comic with them. And it really does feel like at this point, in terms of Batman on the screen, the last sort of untapped area where no one's tried to explore some of those storylines, some of those family dynamics and stuff. So that does sound interesting. And the fact that, obviously Bruce is going to have a son in this film, you'd expect Bruce is going to be old or older, which maybe hints at some casting. I don't know. But I don't know. Does this do anything for you, Fitzy?
New Batman?
New Batman family, Bat family.
Yeah, I'm not much about Batfleck person.
So you're happy about that? I see. That's all good. I know. My first thought was my dream casting for a Batman of this age would be John Hamm.
What?
No, that's what I thought.
John Hamm?
Yeah.
Too old.
Too old, but he's got a son in this. Damian Wayne.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You think he's too old to play like a father Batman?
How old is John Hamm, actually? I don't even know.
I don't know either. But surely he's not too old.
He's 51. Oh, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
I'm glad. Does that not sound like a good idea? I don't know. I feel like I can see him as Bruce Wayne for sure. I feel like he'd do it too. I'm just saying. I don't know. But yeah, it is also just interesting that in this universe, it's so we're going to have a young Superman and an older Batman at the same time. Just
that's cool.
Just an observation. Yeah, I think it's cool.
I think you're overestimating how old Batman is when he has a son, man.
Really?
Yeah.
But in terms of so you're saying John Hamm's too old?
I think he's just about right. I think he's on the older side of right, but like
right. No, like to be clear, I wouldn't endorse like Michael Keaton or anything. It's not. Yeah. But it's just like an older like someone that's like a clear distinction to Robert Pattinson. You don't want like someone else who could just be swapped with Pattinson. You want like, oh, this is a different feeling character, when they're going to be on the screen at the same time.
Wait, how does that work? So is it like...
We'll get there.
Okay.
Hang in there, buddy. Hang in there. So next DCU thing is Swamp Thing and The Authority. So Swamp Thing, these are both shows. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong. Swamp Thing was a show. It has been a show. It's now going to be a movie. It's going to be a horror film. I don't know, whatever. Didn't that show get cancelled? Do people care about this character?
What?
Swamp Thing?
I mean, but DC, it's like I said back like a few days ago. Like something that DC is always trying to push something for some reason. I have no idea.
It's so weird. I don't know. I don't know. A horror movie sounds interesting, I guess. Whatever. I don't really care right now, though. And they revealed... oh, no, it is a movie. I'm sorry. There's more shows coming. The final movie is called The Authority. And it's going to... But basically, the comparisons I saw... because it's based on these characters from Wildstorm comics. I don't know what those are. But basically, everyone was saying it's basically DC's The Boys. They're like a group of characters that are sort of edgy and sort of different. So I guess we're going to have sort of a Guardians of the Galaxy or Eternal situation on our hands where it's a film with a new group of people we don't know anything about. So good for you, James Gunn. At least we know he can do that quite well. There's a Creature Commandos animated series written by James Gunn. This guy needs to stop writing. Why can he write so fast, Paradise Lost is a Game of Thrones type story about Themyscira. Okay, and that's a show. So we're getting a Wonder Woman show, sort of that's Game of Thrones-esque. All right. Feel free to stop me at any time, guys. I'm just I'm just going. They revealed 3 more series. Oh, Lanterns is the main one. Lanterns. So it's this Green Lantern show that's going to focus on Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan as it's going to be like a cop show, apparently, because they're space cops. Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, they're like the 2 main human Green Lanterns that it's usually one or the other in comics, right?
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 humans that they can go to.
But are those the main 2? Because I've heard of those 2.
They're probably the 2 most famous, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so they're both going to be sort of the leads, and it was described as a true detective-like series with intergalactic cops.
Did you say True Detective?
That's what I said. That's what they said.
They're doing a True Detective type series.
A True Detective-like series that follows intergalactic cops.
Wow.
Okay.
Sounds
True Detective
interesting.
as the descriptor is interesting.
Is that bold? Is that bold?
Pretty bold, man. You've seen True Detective. You know what it's like.
Yeah, it definitely is bold. Yeah, I wonder. Because when they described it as like a cop thing, I thought immediately my mind went to like a buddy cop, like a comedy. But I don't think that is what it is, though. I don't think they're going for that. I think they're going for something serious. But anyway, the other shows they announced Peacemaker season 2, and they announced a Peacemaker spin-off show. Which at this point, this shit's just hilarious now because we're getting like the Suicide Squad. The Peacemaker is a spin-off of the Suicide Squad. Peacemaker gets a spin-off. We're in like WandaVision territories now with Agatha. God, this show is Waller, which is all about Amanda Waller, who is Viola Davis's character in the Suicide Squad and all that stuff. But I just can't wait to find out what the Waller spin-off is going to be. You know what I mean? Just keep going. So the sort of vagaries there are just with the characters and the actors, because obviously Peacemaker, John Cena's Peacemaker, exists in the DCEU. You know what I mean? Peacemaker season 2, part of the DCU. John Cena's still there. How does that work? You know what I mean? With continuity-wise, that shit's kind of weird. Not going to lie. So we'll see how they handle that. But I feel like a lot of that's going to be answered in the next one, which is, of course, The Flash, which is coming out in June. I think? June? It's coming out in the middle of this year. And James Gunn in this video... Do you guys actually watch this video? I assume not, because otherwise me reading this would be even more boring. I think James Gunn described it as one of the best superhero movies ever made. He apparently is all in on this movie. He loves it, apparently. Of course, take it with a grain of salt, given his position.
What was it?
The Flash.
Oh, The Flash. Oh.
they've been doing a lot of reshoots. Obviously, there's a lot of drama with Ezra Miller, all that sort of thing. But Gunn thinks the movie's awesome, apparently, and it's the movie that they're moving forward with as sort of the reset point. They're going to use it, which makes perfect sense, of course, given the story and stuff. But they're going to use this movie to basically reset the DC universe and sort of make it make sense continuity-wise of why some actors are going to stay around, why some aren't, all that sort of thing. So, I mean, it sounds like it could be a mess, especially given the reshoots and them trying to make it all work after the fact, because this movie was originally shot with none of this in mind. So it could be a total mess, or it could be really cool. I don't know. It sounds like it's had a whack production, so I'm just curious to see how it ends up playing out at this point. It's been haven't we been talking about this movie for years? I feel like this was one of those movies that was brought up on the goddamn bench in 2019. You know what I mean? Oh, the Flash movie. It's been so long.
Could be. I mean, ever since Justice League, I guess. Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, we knew it was coming before that. So long time coming. Let's hope it's decent. Okay. And then now to finally answer Fitzy's question regarding other DC things. So what they're doing, James Gunn and co., they are making the brands distinct. You've got the DCU and you've got DC Elseworlds. And DC Elseworlds are where they're going to continue just their one-off cool projects that are connected to nothing. And they just are what they are. So, of course, Joker, I still can't say the subtitle, Joker 2 is, of course, part of that. That's still all good. There's some other, the CW shows are part of that too. Shazam is still coming out. I guess that will, it's not technically part of it yet, but it could end up, by the end, we'll probably end up sort of being in that vein. But the main thing, of course, is the Batman Part 2. Confirmed, happening, Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson. It's happening. James Gunn confirmed it to be a trilogy. The Part 2 is coming out in October 2025, and it's fine. It just exists in DC Elseworlds over there in its own little thing. They'll continue to make those cool-ass films that are probably going to be way better than these films. And, yeah, that's it. I'm just happy that they're continuing to move forward with those. And possibly my main concern is, is it going to be a label, the Elseworlds thing? Is it going to be a label that they just have, to sunset these things that were already in motion? And then, in 10 years, when it's just going to be all DCU and no one's going to, you know what I mean? Because Marvel doesn't do anything like that. Marvel doesn't have films that they make that are just cool one-off things.
Well,
that aren't connected to the MCU,
Didn't they start on that?
With what?
Oh, God. Didn't they just release something?
No. What?
No.
Are you thinking about Werewolf by Night? That's in the MCU.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. I was just thinking, you said, both Batman at the same time. I wonder if they would, interact with each other. Yeah.
I think that's something they do in 15 years when they do the goddamn time travel story or whatever, Justice League Endgame, the multiverse saga for the DC universe. But yeah. That's the point I was making, that Robert Pattinson and whoever this new guy, whoever they do for the older Batman, their movies are going to be releasing simultaneously, obviously. That's it. Any final thoughts before we kill this segment?
No. These will all be discussed again anyway.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Hopefully they'll actually have logos next time. I feel like I don't know, in my opinion, that's the bare minimum. Have a logo. You know what I mean? And you can change the logo, but have a logo. I don't know. Marvel always has a logo when they announce something. Anyway.
They have a stylized header.
It's a logo.
Yeah.
You wouldn't call it a logo?
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
I know it's a logo. Now it's time for our highlights of the week. God damn. Who wants to go first? Jane, do you want to go first?
Oh, God, have I even watched anything this week?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I watched one more episode of this anime called Bocce the Rock, which is about this. It's about this girl with social anxiety joining a band to try and overcome that. I'm 4 episodes in so far. It's pretty decent. It's I don't know. It's cute. It's it's anime. It's yeah.
Story sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds nice. Sounds relatable.
You have social anxiety and you play in a rock band to get over it.
No, but the idea, So
Yeah, I know. Yeah. No.
I definitely don't have a rock band.
No, like 4 episodes in, I'm pretty happy with it. It does make me regularly laugh.
Yeah,
it's a nice little slice of life.
Okay, that's good. Just so you know, Jane, Cinema Effect is my rock band.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, it is.
What's your instrument?
He's the lead singer.
You play us. Play with us.
I watched You People on Netflix. This new Jonah Hill movie and with Eddie Murphy in it, and it's pretty wank. I'm not gonna lie. I've always wanted to say that. I've always wanted to use Jaden. That's such a Jaden word in my mind, and I've just always wanted to say it. So I just said, no, I don't know. Like, in your opinion, Jaden, what does something have to be scored to be considered wank? Something or below?
4 and below is where I'd start using wank.
Got it. So I wouldn't actually call it wank then, I guess.
Right.
It's whack. It's a bit whack. I don't know. Whatever. I love those words. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's not very funny. I'm just sort of over this sort of political shit, man. I'm not going to lie. Just me personally. Not to say it hasn't got any relevance or anything like that. Just in my media, like, I don't know. I don't really need jokes about race and stuff. I don't know. I'm fine with it. It's also just not very funny, first of all. It definitely has some funny lines here and there. When you've got Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy in a scene, it's not like they can't create something that's at least somewhat funny at times. But the story is just whatever. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend this. And I'm someone who's not really against, generic, what I guess people would call Netflix trash films. You know what I mean? Like, I watched Me Time with Mark Wahlberg and Kevin Hart, and would I necessarily recommend it? No. But, like, you know what you're getting with those kind of films generally, in my opinion. Like, I'm a defender. Like, I don't mind. You're getting a fun comedy with those two actors. It's pretty decent. I couldn't complain. I kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was solid, to be honest, And this film, like, even going in, I think, with fair expectations, those sort of level of expectations, this film was still a bit disappointing. So I wouldn't rush to see it or to, click play on it, I guess. All right. Fitzy, what have you been watching?
I'll actually give you back a wank on a 5. I think I've described things. Yeah, I think I've described 5s as wank.
That's very nice of you. Thank you very much. You People is wank. Anyway,
nice.
There you go.
I'm not finished yet, but I've been watching Yellow Jackets on Paramount. It's pretty great. It's a lot more like, it's a lot slower than your usual, like, people trapped on an island survival type genre thing. It like really delves deep into, each character's their past, like before the island, and then like the repercussions of what happens on the island, even though you don't really see much of it yet. Like, I think I'm like 6 episodes in and nothing's really happened on the island yet, which is surprising, seeing as there's like 1 season out at the moment, but there's the 2nd season coming. So I feel like it is like a great show. Like, I'm having a great time. Like, it is like just entertaining. But it could, really like hit if it's like a longer show, like 3 seasons or 4 seasons or something. Because it is slower, so I imagine they have a lot to work with. But yeah, it's really great. Christina Ricci's in it. I love Christina Ricci. She's great. She makes me happy. So yeah.
Who is she?
She was Wednesday in Addams Family movies.
Oh yeah.
But no, yeah, I'd recommend it.
Cool. Okay. I think that's on my watch list. I do want to check that out. Now comes the segment where we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, who is your king of comedy? AKA, who's your favourite comedian of all time? Luke said, My king of comedy is Gabriel Iglesias, which was a great shout. He was very much speaking the praises of Gabriel. And because Luca was like, I don't know who to choose. And then like went on like a 5-minute talk about how good Gabriel is. And I'm like, yeah, you should probably pick him. And it's also perfectly relevant because he was the guy in Magic Mike, the bus driver, which I didn't know. So yeah, perfectly timed answer, quality answer. I've not seen any. Does he have specials on Netflix?
I think he does.
Oh yeah.
He's really some of his early stuff is really fucking funny.
I got to check him out. I should. All right. Andy said the king of comedy. Oh no, he says my king of comedy. Imagine if he was just like nah, mate. There's no opinions here. But no, he said my king of comedy is Stephen Chow. Also because he literally starred in a 1999 Hong Kong film called King of Comedy. Wow, a pretty wholesome dramedy about the ups and downs of being an extra in the Hong Kong film industry. Although he is a highly prolific filmmaker after the 2000s, he was also the true star of Cantonese slapstick comedies in the 1990s. Guy has always made me, and probably millions of other Asians, laugh in the films he acted in. He's also the Kung Fu Hustle lead actor-director. Oh, of course. Hang on, how the fuck did it take me that long? In case you can't remember his name. Yes, I do now. Thank you, Andy. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So, having seen Kung Fu Hustle, that's definitely a bad answer. I'm just kidding. Sounds like he's cool. But I don't know. If he doesn't have specials on Netflix, I also don't really consider him legit. You know what I mean? That's sort of my way of verifying a comedian these days, which is probably a bad way, but I'm casual, you know. Jaden, who is your king of comedy?
For this, I went for comedians, not comedic actors. That was my thinking. I've kind of got two, I guess, because I think they're both great. First one's Russell Howard. He's pretty popular in the comedy scene. He's great. I went to see his live a few years ago when I was down here.
Oh yeah.
So it's one of the funniest sets I've seen, despite it being like a few jokes that he has used before. Just because I watched some of his work, but like every special I've seen is just brilliant, and he's had like a spate of shows that are just consistently hilarious as well. He's a great person and great one to watch as well. My other one is James Acaster, who does have a Netflix special as well called Repertoire. It's kind of split into 4 kind of shows. But he is phenomenal. Like I went to one of his live shows, I think it was 2019 at the Melbourne Comedy Festival, called Cold Lasagna Hate Myself 1999, I think. And it's just one of the best. Like that is genuinely like the best comedy set I've ever seen. It is so emotional, like emotionally charged for him because it's deeply personal, but just really hilarious as well. And he's just the way he delivers lines and like the way he's like he's fantastic. So yeah,
good answers. I am definitely more of a casual guy with this sort of thing with stand-up comedians. I was trying to think. I mean, I find quite a few people funny, but I was trying to cover all the bases, I guess, in terms of my engagement with the person. And I went with Jerry Seinfeld. I don't know. I've obviously Seinfeld's hilarious show. It's the only sitcom I can really tolerate. Not that I'll ever see every episode, but like, you know, we put it on frequently and I always enjoy it. So, you know, he's got the comedic actor thing down, of course. But then I've seen him live. I've seen him do a stand-up set live, and that was phenomenal. We still quote it to this day. I think it was in 2000. I think I saw it in 2017, and we still quote it in this house to this day. So, yeah, no, he's fantastic. And of course, who can forget Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, another great show with some great guests as well. So yeah, no, Jerry Seinfeld hits all the bases for me, definitely. I really like Chris Rock as well. We saw him live as well. He's great. But yeah, I'll go with Jerry. Why not? Let's do it. I think probably the difference is though, like I really like Chris Rock's stand-up. I don't know if I've ever seen Chris Rock in a movie where I thought he was hilarious. I don't know. Don't think I have. Maybe that's on me.
You don't like Central Intelligence and Jumanji and all that?
Shut the fuck up. All right. Fitzy, what about you?
My favorite comedian is Norm Macdonald. I know from like YouTube, I guess, like his podcast kind of thing, where he has like Adam Egan or something on the show. Yeah, he's really funny. He's I don't know. I don't know how to describe him. He's kind of it's like he had Jim Carrey on the show once, and he's kind of the polar opposite of Jim Carrey in a way. He's very like he'll say he's very dry. I'll just say that he has very dry humor, and I don't know. He's one of the only comedians I watch on YouTube, just like clips of. The other one I did think it was Larry David, but he's kind of like from Curb Your Enthusiasm. But I don't know. I think I find Larry David so funny in Curb Your Enthusiasm because of like the script. I've never seen him be funny on his own the way Norm Macdonald like just always is. I was watching like Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld on I don't think it was. I think they were like at a coffee shop. It wasn't in the car thing, but like that wasn't as entertaining as like just the show or watching Macdonald by himself. So yeah, I'll say Norm Macdonald. He's brother man. So yes, Jane.
Is Norm Macdonald not dead?
Yeah, he died 2021.
Right, but you're just like okay. So you like the podcast is from like before then, and I'm not thinking like the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, like I was like, is like because you mentioned the podcast that he was doing on, and I was like, is that a new thing?
Oh right,
that's like some other Norm Macdonald is doing.
No, I was like old episodes.
Like thinking of like the wrong guy.
It's like it's a video show, like it's like a video radio show. It's not. I guess it's a podcast, but you watch him, talk. It's a camera on them. Yeah.
The idea of watching a podcast is foreign to us. The idea of having video. Yeah. This was hard. I'm not qualified, dude. I'm not qualified to talk about goddamn comedians and critique comedy. What the hell? My bachelor in film studies is all like, yeah, exactly, in this particular conversation. Oh, God. Anyway, that was a fun question. That was a diverse question for us. Thank you, Jaden, for that one.
Wait. Oh, I just said I lost connection to the server and then reconnected.
Ooh.
Zencaster, woo! All right. As always, we'd love you to submit your questions, thoughts, reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comment section. Send us a DM on oh my God, I slurred that whole thing. Send us a DM on Instagram or join the Discord server. The specific question we'll be asking you this week, however, is what is your favourite Tom Hardy performance? Banger actor, banger amount of choices. Can't believe we haven't asked this question yet.
I hate to say, but have we asked this question?
I don't think we have. But there's also a possibility we have, and that's why we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
It's fine. Let us know who your favourite Tom Hardy performance is. You know what I mean? All right, that's it for this week's episode. Yeah, what's up?
And also, Jaden's not going to be here. You know why Jaden's not going to be here?
Paul.
Why?
Because there must be one of us for the wreckage, brother. So,
don't be expecting one of us in the wreckage, brother. Yeah, we throw Jaden out of the aeroplane. Is that the metaphor you want everyone imagining?
Yeah.
Nice work. All right, that's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Fitzy, why on earth are we asking the Tom Hardy question?
Because next week we're doing a feature film that features the actor Tom Hardy, which the title of is Lawless, which I believe is on just Netflix.
I think so.
It's also on Stan. There you go. Stan and Netflix.
Netflix and Stan.
Yeah.
Nice. No excuses, everyone. Watch Lawless. Hear that, Luke? It's called Lawless. All right.
One word. As Lawless always
Indeed.
is.
Yeah, it's true. All right. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate Fitzy and Jaden being here as always, especially this time on this random Sunday. We'll see you all next time. Have a great rest of your week and goodbye.